Okay, these notes are over factoring polynomials using the sum and difference of cubes. So here, a cubed plus b cubed equals a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. And just imagine a and b are either numbers or variables, whatever you want them to be. We don't need to memorize that though, because there is actually an acronym to help us memorize our steps. So first off, we can only use the sum and difference of cubes if everything within your polynomial can be written as something cubed. So x cubed plus 8, I can rewrite that and say that it's x cubed plus 2 cubed. 2 cubed is the exact same thing as 8, so I didn't change the value of the polynomial at all. I just rewrote it. Since I was able to do that, I can drop the cubes, and x plus 2 is my first factor. So once you get everything written as something cubed, you can drop your cubes. And now you're going to launch into SOFAs. So SOFAS. And SOFAs is going to help us remember our steps. So the first S stands for square the first term. So our first term is x, so I'm going to square it, so I get x squared. The O is for opposite sign. So it's a plus right here, which means I'm going to do a minus. The F stands for first term times the last term. So I would do x times 2, so it would be 2x. The A is for always add, so it's going to be plus. And then the last S is for square the last term. So my last term is 2, so when I square that I get 4. So my factors are x plus 2 and x squared minus 2x plus 4. So SOFAs works every single time. The next one, I have 5x to the 4th plus 40x. Well, I'm looking at the 5 and the 40, and I cannot rewrite either one of those as something cubed. So I'm not, at this point, able to use the sum and difference of cubes. Now, what I can do instead, though, is factor out a 5x out of both terms. 5 goes into 5 and 40, and x goes into x to the 4th and x. So I'm factoring out a 5x, and that turns this into 5x times x cubed plus 8, which that can now be rewritten as 5x times x cubed plus 2 cubed. So 5x is just one of our factors that's tagging along, but it's not going to help us out with using SOFAs. But this x plus 2 is what I'm going to be using. So my first factor is 5x. My second factor, I just dropped the cubes, so that's x plus 2. And now I'm going to be using the x plus 2 to get my third factor, and I'm going to be using SOFAs. So the square of the first term, which the first term is x, so x squared. Opposite sign, it's a plus right here, so it's going to be a negative. First times last term, so x times 2 is 2x. Then we always add, and then we square the last term. The last term is 2, so when I square that, I get 4. So my factors for that are 5x times x plus 2 times x squared minus 2x plus 4. If I were to multiply all of that together, I would end back up at 5x to the 4th plus 40x. So this is technically called the sum of cubes since it was all addition. This next page, we're talking about the difference of cubes, which just means it's subtraction. We don't need to have this memorized up here, though, because we use SOFAs to help us remember our steps. So x cubed minus 27. I can rewrite that to be x cubed plus, that should be a minus. X cubed minus 3 cubed. And so I can drop my cubes. So x minus 3. So x minus 3 is my first factor. Now I can launch into SOFAs. So square the first term. So x squared. Then opposite sign, so it's a subtraction for x minus 3, so it's going to be addition here. Then you do first times last, so x times 3 is 3x. Then we always add, and then square the last term. 3 squared is 9. So there are two factors, x minus 3 and x squared plus 3x plus 9. This next example, I have 2x to the 5th minus 16x squared. I cannot rewrite 2 or 16 to be something cubed. But what I can do is a 2 goes into 2 and 16, and an x squared goes into x to the 5th and x squared. So I can factor out a 2x squared from the very beginning. And after I do that, I'm left with x cubed minus 8, which can be rewritten as 2x squared times x cubed minus 2 cubed. So the 2x squared is just one of our factors that's tagging along. It's not going to help us out with SOFAs. So we have 2x squared. I'm going to drop my cubes now, so my second factor is x minus 2. And I'm going to use the x minus 2 to help me out with SOFAs. So I'm going to square the first term, so x squared. Opposite sign, so it's subtraction here, so it's going to be addition. First times last, so x times 2 is 2x. Then we always add, and then we square our second term, which is 2 squared, so 4. So our factors are 2x squared, x minus 2, and x squared plus 2x plus 4. If I multiplied all of that together, I'd end up back at 2x to the 5th minus 16x squared. And the last example, I am factoring f of x equals 8x cubed minus 125. So I'm going to look and see, can I rewrite every single part of this to be something cubed? And if I can't, then I need to look and see, can I factor? Well, here, I can rewrite 8 to be 2 cubed. Then I've got x cubed. Minus, and then I can rewrite 125 to be 5 cubed. So every single part of this problem is already written as something cubed. So now I can just drop the cubes, and 2x minus 5 is my first factor. And now I can launch into SOFAs. So square the first term. Well, my first term is 2x. So when I square that, that becomes 4x squared, because the 2 gets squared and the x gets squared. Opposite sign, so it's subtraction originally, so it's going to be addition. Then we do first times last, so 2x times 5 is 10x. Then we always add, and then we square the second term, so 5 squared is 25. So our two factors are 2x minus 5 and 4x squared plus 10x plus 25. And that is it for using the sum and difference of cubes to factor polynomials.